Alright, in this video, we're going to be talking about how to deal with different types of enemies in Dishonored. In my opinion, there are 5 different types of enemies. They are animals, guards, overseers, Bottle Street gang members, and assassins, or whalers. With animals, you've got dogs, rats, and fish. With guards, you've got the regular City Watch guard, then you've got the officers, then the elite guards, and then the Tallboys. With overseers, you've got the regular overseer, and then you've got the ones with the music boxes. Bottle Street gang members and assassins don't really have classes. But with that said, let's get right into it. So the first enemy you want to take a look at is rats, which might seem ridiculous because rats don't really seem like much of a problem, but this is what can happen when you get caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. I was gonna say right time. And the same thing can happen to you. And the thing with rats is that they can deal quite a bit of damage over a short period of time. So the best way to deal with rats is probably to keep your distance and use a long range weapon. You ensure that you don't really take any damage and you can disperse the rats pretty quickly. You can also use a sword, but it's not recommended because you can take damage while you're doing this. And well, it is effective, so you can use it if you want, but probably best to use something long range. And also, you can just avoid the rats altogether because rats don't really pose that much of a problem. Sure, they are quite dangerous in swarms, but if you don't engage them, then it's no problem. And then you can focus on, you know, other things in the game. So the next, enemy is a dog, and this is what happens when you're exposed. So dogs are quite a fast animal, and they can take you down quite quickly. So once again, use a long range weapon, and you should be fine. My favorite thing to do though is just to use stealth and get past them. There's no need to risk it. If you don't need to engage, don't you know play the safe option and then just like slowly make your way through the map. Obviously, I think dogs as well, they can smell you as well, so they don't necessarily have to see you to be able to detect you. So that's another dangerous thing you have to watch out for. But for the most part, you should be fine if you keep your distance. And the final animal is the fish. So obviously, if you stay in the water for a long period of time, the fish, kind of like rats, they will kind of be attracted to you and they'll slowly take down your health. Which, yep, there we go. Um, you can use blink to try and blink out of the water if you want, but this is what happens when you don't. And yeah, that's about it for fish. Our first enemy, our first human enemy. So this is what happens when you don't block and the enemy, I guess strikes you down. So what you want to try and do is just block. Yeah, block the enemy, and if you block, you don't take damage, so that's quite good. But I guess they can kick you as well. And if you block at the right time, you can parry, and then you can sort of take them out right away. So here it is again. Parry, take him out, job done. So you can take it, guards out using stealth as well. You can use long range weapons. And you can use a combination of both, which is quite handy. And this is what happens when you come up against a group of guards at the same time. So what you want to do in this case is, just try and parry and use a long range weapon together. It seems quite risky going up against this many opponents at one time, but if you time your parries well and use your long range weapons, and if you don't run out, things can work out quite well. And these are the officers, so once again, that's what happens when things go wrong. So what you want to try and do is avoid their pistols, and if you can, and try to hit them with a long range weapon as well, like a gun. Obviously, the gun there, it's quite hard to aim when you're that far away, so maybe using a bow and arrow, or the crossbow. It's called the crossbow. Um, and yeah, try and take out officers right away. So when you enter, an area, try to see if there's an officer in that area and take him out, because you don't want to be caught out in the open with 4 or 5 guards running at you and an officer shooting a gun from behind, because it's going to be over pretty quickly. So take out the officer and do things that way. And another tough enemy to take on is the elite guard. And there's not many elite guards in this game actually, so it's not something you have to worry about too often, but things can go wrong very quickly because elite guards normally have a lot of high level opponents around them, so things can get ugly really quickly. So what you want to do is, try and take out the elite guard, and once you've taken out the elite guard, take out the officers around him, and then try and do things that way. But the best option is, excuse me, the best option is probably just to avoid that situation altogether, because things can get quite messy very quickly. And one of the last ones on that list is the Tallboy. So obviously it's a long range enemy once again, and one way to take him out is like we're seeing here. Just try and shoot his what do you call it? The way all tanks on his back. I think he's got about three, so you have to shoot him about 3 times. Or you can do this where you climb onto a large ledge or a building, jump up, jump on top of the tall boy, and take him out in one hit, which is probably the most effective way to take him out. Next up, we're on to overseers. So this is what they can do in action. Obviously, they can throw grenades, which is very dangerous and does a lot of damage. And yep, that's what happens when things go wrong once again. So the best way to deal with this is, it's a human enemy, so obviously dodge the grenades when you can, and like before with guards, just wait for a chance to parry. There we go, and take him out in one swoop. And that's how it's done. And when you're fighting overseers in groups, obviously this can be quite dangerous once again. They throw grenades, dodge them, and try to find an opening. Use a long range weapon together with a sword. Do that, parry, do a combination of things, and you should be okay. Yep, parry once again. There we go. So the parry is really a really good ability in the game. It can save you a lot. And then there's overseas with music boxes, which, yep, there we go. That's what happens. So what you want to do is, shoot for their legs, because if you try and use a sword, I'm not sure, I don't think it's in this video, but if you try and use a sword to take down an overseer with a box, it doesn't really work because the music box is kind of like a shield. Anyway, now we're on to gang members. So yep, things can go wrong very quickly. Um, so what we want to try and do is once again they're human opponents. So parry and long range weapon, parry, long range weapon. Oh, obviously they can do that as well, but parry, long range weapon. There we go, and that's how it's done. Alright, next we're on to assassins. So yep, there we go, and we're done for. So the best way to deal with assassins is, once again, it's a humanoid opponent. Parry and take him out. If you don't have a long range weapon, like you start off in this mission, just try and parry. It's obviously quite tough because assassins are very quick in battle. They dodge, they can teleport. It is very tough to take them out, but try and do your best and do that. Or what you can do is just don't engage. Just keep your distance. Try and look out for where assassins are, and try to make your way through the map without detecting them, and you should be fine that way. Obviously, things can go wrong though. If you're trying to like sneak past and they detect you, and what you can do is you can try to like um, stand your ground. Obviously, when you're facing multiple assassins at the same time, it can be quite overwhelming because they've got special powers and it's hard to get a hold of them. But once again, human opponents, parry, use long range weapons. Obviously, once again, tough. See, like I'm taking so many hits right now. Like I should have probably gone down, but I didn't. Obviously, take him out that way. Parry, take him out. Getting hit from behind. Oh my god, there's so much going on here. This is actually a really bad way to do this because I'm taking so many hits that I could go down at any time. So I'd probably suggest the best way to deal with assassins is to just stealth it. Obviously, some people find that boring, but that is probably the best way to deal with this situation. And that's about it.